Hi, I'm Pastor David with Declaration Church, and today I want to share with you a little bit about one of our main values, identity. I remember growing up how much I heard two conflicting narratives all the time growing up. I heard, you can be anything you want to be when you grow up. All you have to do is apply yourself. Just work hard. You can be anything you want to be. And then I heard, oh, well, you can't really do that. Well, I don't know if you really want to pursue that, because there are always reasons why some dream that I might have wouldn't work out in the end, whether it be I wanted to be a singer or a quarterback or whatever the case may be. There were always reasons why I could not be that thing that I said I wanted to be more than anything else. And so throughout life, a lot of times we get those kinds of conflicting ideas, and we begin to come to this place in our minds where we want to fit into a certain role, where we want to fit in with a certain group of people or with certain ideals and ideas that people present to us. And so rather than simply identifying who we are and trying to discover who God's created us to be, we begin to mold ourselves and shape ourselves into something else. In reality, just like in Jeremiah, when God says to Jeremiah, I've already appointed you. Before I even knit you together in your mother's womb, before you were conceived, I appointed you a prophet to the nations. I set you apart for a purpose. He created Jeremiah with this identity, with this purpose. And yet, we, instead of trying to identify what that is in our own lives, what we try to do is create for ourselves an identity. That's another conflicting idea. Rather than you can be anything you want to be, we're told to go and make something of ourselves. You can be anything you want to be. No, you really can't. Well, you're already important, but go show me what you can do. Be something. Show me how important you are. Show me. And we get this idea that we have to make ourselves into something great in order to be accepted. And that's when we start to fit ourselves into roles and begin to mold ourselves and shape ourselves into something maybe sometimes other than we really are, just so that we can please certain people around us. Even people who tend not to be people pleasers in their personality are really trying to almost sometimes appease a certain group, that rebellious group, by not fitting into what others expect of them. We all are told throughout our lives what we should be, what we shouldn't be, how we should act. And the reality is that God has created you in a very unique way to reflect himself to the rest of the world. And that is why identity is so important to us at Declaration Church. Rather than trying to tell you who you should be or how you should act, we want to help you discover who God has created you to be. Because your identity is vital and valuable. Not just to you, not just to the rest of the world and the people around you, but to God and the purpose for which you've been created. It's vital that you discover who you are. It's vital that I discover who I am. And I remember a few years back being confused about who I was, really not being able to pinpoint and identify who I was. And I was going through each day, day after day after day, simply going through the motions of life, not really living the life that God created me to live. So I found it very important for me to discover who I really am in Christ. And when I started to discover who that is, when I realized who I am, everything began to change for me. Life took on a new dynamic. And I began to live out life in a very purposeful and really a way that's true to who I am. And at Declaration Church, we realize that if we're going to truly represent who God is, being created in the image of God, being created to represent him, to be in his likeness, to show the world who God is in one way or another, if we're all created to reveal something unique about God, we need to know who we are. And so sometimes that requires us to strip away those things that we've put onto ourselves, those things we've built ourselves into that don't really reflect who we've been created to be. And so at Declaration Church, identity is really important because we realize God's made you to be who you are for a purpose, to reflect Him, to glorify Him. And we want to help you discover who that is so that you can be true to who you are, be true to who He's made you to be, and accomplish that purpose, living out life to the fullest possible extent. Identity is vital to us living out who we are. Not just our own identity, but the identity of who God is. If we're created in His image, we really can't know who we are apart from knowing Him. If we're created to represent Him in this world, we can't know ourselves without knowing Him first. And so I hope that you'll begin to really take some time to introspectively search out who God's made you to be and identify who you are in Him so that you can be true to yourself and strip away all those things that others have put on you, that you've put on yourself to try to fit into a role, to try to fit into an identity that isn't really yours, so that you could please other people and make them happy. Maybe you'll even give us the opportunity to help you do that. If you'd like more information on that, leave it in the comments. And if this video has helped you out, if you like this video and this series of videos, I hope you'll give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, I'm Pastor David, and I'm out.